boys and girls, thank you for joining me once again, where Alexander has dropped in for an update, I suppose, or tell us what's happening. So, what's happening?
Since we last spoke, I created my channel 5 days ago, and today is day 4 of my journey recovering from carb addiction, and to a lesser extent some other problems with pornography and a bit of gambling in recent years. But yeah, I finally did it, Field
Awesome.
Marshal, as instructed. Not as promptly as you instructed, but
it only took you more than a fucking year, Alex. What are you talking about?
2 years, actually.
Is it?
2 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fair play. Anyway, the link to Alex's channel is under the video in the show notes. So, Meat Militia, that's what you do. You go there and you click it and you subscribe and you watch the hell out of everything that he posts, and you post it to your social media and you hit like there and you comment under the videos. Al Gore loves that kind of shit. He really does.
Thanks, Bart. I really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. So what's been happening? What have you posted? 4 daily blog things. A little bird tells me that you have third world internet where you live, and so there's quite a bit of effort in so doing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the internet. I had high speed internet with Virgin, but I think I got bamboozled on the telephone by some charlatan over in the Philippines, who convinced me that I absolutely needed, 100 gig connection in order to masturbate with the most efficiency. But I think really he sold me an internet package, which is for, people who download to the extreme and who game and need a great connection. So I got rid of it because I learned that, you could just get a decent deal on your smartphone and then just tether devices to your phone. That's actually what I'm doing now. But I think, for downloading and uploading, it's a problem. But what I'm doing is I go for coffee every day at my local coffee shop, and they have a high speed internet there. So I just upload the video as I'm drinking my flat white. So
clever, Trevor.
Yeah. So anyway, that banality aside, so in the first video of the channel, I was sat in my room thinking of what I was going to say and doing take after take after take. And I think by literally the 20th time, I'd stopped recording and was really quite exasperated by the whole thing. I just thought that I was trying to speak in too much of a rehearsed or contrived or engineered way. And I remember that Pim just gave me some great advice, which is that make the first video about the reality of what you're thinking and how you're feeling. So I just had one theme in mind when I was speaking to the camera, which is, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to say. And this is pretty much why I haven't had the courage and the inclination for over 2 years to make the channel, as well as, confessing that the journey of the addict is a journey of self-deception, and that for 2 years I told myself that I was ready and I just wasn't ready. So she gave, great advice, and it really saved the day. And by letting go of all of that tension, the concern with it being slick and professional, and appearing that I had prepared kind of lengthy streams of consciousness. I just once I let go of that, I just took a deep breath and this long, very lucid stream of consciousness came forth, and it's interesting. I don't know if you have this experience, but as I was speaking, I just thought that everything that was coming out of my mouth was just incoherent dog shit, and that I was, by the end, I shall have forgotten all sorts of key points, and then I'll have to go back and re-record it. But when I watched it the following day, I just concluded that it had everything that needed to be said, no more, no less. So I've discovered something that works for me, which is to just speak to the camera ad lib, as if I were with a friend or a family member, and a lot of casual, trite kind of banality has to come out, as with all conversations. But after a certain point, by just simply speaking and being myself, my mind finds a way, kind of in the labyrinth of my consciousness. It finds its way to something meaningful, something poignant, and then it becomes clear after going deeper and deeper into that that theme which I've stumbled across just by speaking randomly, that is going to be the theme of the video. So I've worked out this nice little system which will serve me for however long it needs to, as a beginner, as a novice at this, which is to just talk until the deeper exposition occurs, and then it becomes clear within that exposition what the key word is to extract and then use as the title. So in day one, I talked about coming to terms with certain ideas that for years I had considered as platitudes. And then it reminded me of something again. The author I mentioned last time we spoke, David Foster Wallace, he gave a very poignant and relevant speech in 2006 about platitudes and how we ignore them and dismiss them because their wisdom seems so obvious that we automatically assume that the reason they appear obvious is because we've already adopted them into our value system and daily behaviors, when in fact it's the sort of not being able to see the forest for the trees, and there's something really important to learn there. So I talked about the various ideas and truths that I had dismissed over the years, and then as I was looking for a name for the title of the video, I just thought, well, let's call it Platitudes. And then the day after, the theme was about how the addict, in my case, in my case as an addict, one of the key malfunctions of my belief system and my psychology as an addict has been this fundamental impatience that is quite self-infantilizing, because when one imagines an objective or an achievement to obtain, whether it's an experience, doing an educational course, pursuing a career, pursuing a member of the opposite sex for a relationship, whatever the objective is, that which is desired is, one begins at position A and one's objective is at point B. And I have ignored and dismissed this platitude my whole life that dictates the reality, which is that everything that makes life worthwhile and enjoyable is everything that happens between A and B, not being at B and then being able to enjoy the egotistical satisfaction of just saying, look at what I have achieved, and displaying it for the world, for the purposes of one's own hubris, which interestingly I think is exactly what's happened to Joey Schwartz. He's going through his, I'm at point A, but I must convince the world I'm at point B, and skip past the Leviathan theme degree of work that's required to get there. He's trying to say things as assertions that would require the work of a veteran scientist such as yourself. He seems to have hidden for a number of months that pathology, but it's quite clear that he wants to run before he can walk, which is why I had a certain amount of understanding for his behavior recently, as well as a lot of critical judgment of it.
Well, there's a lot of young me in there as well, so I also, while I don't like it, and possibly for that reason alone, if nothing else, that there's a lot of young me there, and it led me to waste decades, frankly, on things that I shouldn't have wasted decades on, and I did it because I had a severe case of Dunning-Kruger and a serious ego problem as a young man. And to see somebody else making those same errors, who, like I wouldn't have at the time, who is not prepared to listen to guidance. Anyway, so there's that one.
Yeah. But forgive me. I didn't mean to sidetrack the conversation.
Not at all.
It just reminded me of what I'm coming to terms with, which is that impatience of the sort of the bullying, abusive pressure that one puts on oneself to immediately transport oneself from A to B and totally disregard and ignore and devalue the wonderful journey between the two. And that feeds into the deep sense of inferiority and failure, which is one of the key components psychologically that brings one back to one's addictive substance or process. So again, I was just speaking. It wasn't planned at all. I initially had thought before starting the channel that planning everything out was going to be vital, and that it would just be a chaotic mess without. But on the contrary, it seems that just going for it ad-lib brings forth some gold. All I would say to any of your viewers who are generous enough and disposed to giving my channel a try is you do have to wade through a bit of waffling before you get to the gold. But I can assure you that I've been discovering a lot about myself by talking to the lens and imagining that there are all of those eyes, taking the journey with me, helping me to stay accountable. It became clear what the theme was. I picked it out, and then I called video number 2 from point A to point B, and so on and so forth. So yeah, every video has a title, which is it's there to capture the theme of those golden moments where, through talking, I stumble across all manner of truths about who I am, who I have been, and how that relates to the journey, the archetypal journey of the addict, which is a form of the mythological fool. It's a fool's path. Would you mind me distastefully doing a quick plug for the channel? Would that be okay?
Please, fill your boots. Yep. Okay.
So, to all the Meat Militia watching, the channel is called Bring Yourself to Be Yourself. It's a new channel, so just typing that title in on the YouTube search bar doesn't actually bring the channel up yet. It's one of the unfortunate consequences of having a channel name which is slightly elongated and is more of a phrase than a channel name. But I think the more it's searched for and the more established I become, the YouTube algorithm will pick it up. So for the meantime, you'll have to use the link on this video rather than searching it. That's crucial, or it will appear as if I don't even exist. But that will change in time. The name of the channel There's nothing esoteric about it whatsoever. It's very simple. It is a line from a song which is very meaningful and poignant to me by the American rapper Saul Williams. He's a sort of slam poet. In 2007, the Nine Inch Nails frontman Trent Reznor produced an album for him called Niggy Tardust, and one of the songs is called WTF, and it's basically, the lyrics are a kind of incitement to the individual who is lost and not living authentically, the man or woman who is living a lie. And of the many insightful lines in the song, the one at the end it's like a mantra that he repeats for the final 2 minutes of the song as it grows in intensity. And it's just not a coincidence that since I first listened to that song 16 years ago, that it has been on my playlist on repeat, monthly, weekly, sometimes daily, and sometimes on certain days when I listen to it, I have it on repeat for the day, because it's obviously speaks to my subconscious at the deepest level, and that is how I see my journey in the channel. Is I'm trying to reveal to myself and to the world exactly who has been missing all of these years, and what potential within me has been suppressed and hidden and blurred out of existence because of the awful, unbearable affliction of addiction, and how it becomes your master, your unholy god. And I know there are lots of people who came to you and Pim because they suffer with the same affliction. So the idea is that it's synergistic. By knowing that all of these eyes are keeping me accountable, that gives me a steadfast, consistent motivation to stick to the diet and to constantly work on myself, and to make sure that I record every day and I'm disciplined, and I upload a video at least every 24 to 36 hours, and I'm disciplined, because I'm ready now to accept that that just from a pragmatic standpoint, that this channel and this accountability that it affords me, not every day, but there are going to be some days where that's all I have. The days on which there's the sterile way of presenting it, which is to say when my dopamine is low, and then there's the more kind of romanticized way of presenting it, which is when I'm really lost, and everything feels hopeless and pointless. More and more, as I use the power of my mind to intervene, to hold my faith steadfast, more and more I'm having the experience of pushing through the depression and waking up the next day and being endowed with that reward, being given the reward for having steadfast and having kept the faith, which is that the meaning and purpose of things, it will reveal itself to you if you just wait for it. It is a horrible feeling, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers know it. I'm sure you know it too. It's an awful, unbearable feeling to feel that emptiness inside, wherein all of those strings and connectors between the individual's mind and body, and all entities and phenomena in the world to which one normally has that strong bond, that it's just not there. And we take it for granted that we wake up and we spring out of bed and everything seems normal and logical, that that inexorable sense of meaning and purpose, that magnetic pull towards doing certain things, seeing certain people, completing certain tasks and objectives. We're always taking for granted that that a lot of that is hormonal, that in the absence of dopamine, that suddenly all of those strings have been suspended, or they're tied in a knot, and I think that's the perfect breeding ground for addiction, for addictive behaviors. So this sort of state of purgatory and inertia at the moment, where I'm neither being addictive nor enjoying the benefits of a repaired and resensitized dopamine reward system, is a very dangerous, harrowing vortex of stability and meaning, and a lot of will and intervention is required to get through that. And I want the channel to be a form of recognition to the truth of that. It really is synergistic. I'm not doing this frivolously. Your views, your comments, your engagement is going to make all the difference. And if it's not too arrogant or presumptuous of me to say, I'm sure that it will make a difference to those viewers, especially who, like me, were on the fence, teetering with one foot in through the door of recovery, but one foot still in the other side of the door in addiction. That's why I use the term synergistic. It's I wanted an outcome where my objectives would the energy and motivation to achieve my objectives were enhanced by people watching, and the display of my efforts to recover enhance the motivation and disposable energy to the viewer. So I really want it. I don't want it to be a superficial parasocial experience on social media. I really want to create a real sense that we're in this together, because we are. So that's what the channel's all about. As for the dynamics of it, the layout of it, so far it's pretty standard weight loss journey stuff. You get to see my sexy body in my Batman underwear. I walk on the scales. You get to see the number, so there's no lying. So far, I've lost 5 pounds. I started at 301 this morning. I weighed in at 296. So even with all the pasta I'm eating, it's still working. You get to see me prepare my food, talk about it. Sometimes I get a bit carried away, and it becomes almost like a kind of poor man's cooking show, low rent cooking show. But I do like talking about food, so that was inevitable. And then probably the most unbearable part of it is I didn't realize that my microphone would pick up the infuriating sounds of mastication that occur whilst I'm chowing on my food. So you hear that kind of mulching, slushing, liquidy sound as I'm chewing, and just listening to myself making that sound. This is something I said in today's video. I actually wanted to reach into the camera and strangle myself whilst I was watching it, but I've figured out the solution, which is to point the camera away in the other direction. It picks up my voice, but a lot less of the eating sounds, because it runs the risk of being one of those gratuitous mukbang videos. Although some people find that smulchy, chewing, liquidy sound quite comforting. They actually use it for ASMR, don't they? But no, it's egregiously unacceptable for me. But yeah, eating. There's eating. There's cooking. There's the weight loss. And then I finish each video just before I go to bed with like a few reflections. And yeah, some of it is pretty heavy. It's the kind of exposition that occurs, I suppose, in the depths of therapy. I just want to make pretty much the only important disclaimer, which is that I don't want any audience members to mistakenly think that if I'm talking about my pain, or certainly if I'm talking about the past and its implications, I'm only excavating it because I wish to learn from it and move forward. And I think my channel was the only place to do that, because I think I've needed to do it for a long time, which is why perhaps I've I've allowed some of that to spill over onto your videos and Pim's videos when perhaps it was excessive or inappropriate, and then it produced a certain number of comments from people saying he needs to let go of the past. He's stuck in the past. He needs to be more positive and move forward, which, though is true, it's not my kind of excavation. It's designed to be therapeutic rather than repetitively self-indulgent. I'm really, that's my disclaimer. Just please don't misunderstand. If I talk about the past, I want to talk about it once, extract the message and the lesson from it, and then move forward. But there are going to be things that I say to you watching the channel, which I probably have never even said to myself or a therapist or a friend. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going to come out, but I know that a lot of new discovery is going to occur simply because I have never, ever made a true significant effort to recover. So I don't know what to anticipate. So I think there will be all manner of kind of revelations about who I about who I have been. So and I think, yeah, the fact that you're watching and that you care is going to save me from myself. It's going to save me from the most destructive thought pattern I have, which is just absolute dismissal. Nothing you say is worth hearing. Just give up, close down the channel, delete the videos. And I've already had that thought about 5 times. I've had that thought about once a day since I started the channel. So yeah, I'm really trying to hang in there and get through this initial period of doubt. And so yeah, that's the long and short of it. That's the gist of the channel.
Brilliant. Well, it's been a very important step for you. It's something that both Pim and I have said to you is something that we felt was something that you needed to do for your own ends as well as for the ends of the community as well. So it is a win-win situation. We do believe in you, and we do know that you will get to somewhere better than where you have been. We will keep you accountable. We will go and sub to your channel. We will watch the videos. We will be there with you. Some of us will say things that you may not relate to in the commentary. That's one of the things that you do get very used to as a YouTube creator, is that often the commentary is not what you'd want it to be. Also, it turns out I used to say that the average IQ is actually as low as 100. And, if your IQ is as low as 100, then half the people in the world are even more stupid than you are. And that shows up a lot on YouTube commentary. As it turns out, though, Alex, I was reading a report, I can't remember what media it was on in the last 24 hours or so, that suggests actually in the last 15 years, the average IQ has dropped to 85. The average IQ. And I'm like, my word, we're not going to make it, are we? No, we're not going to make it. I tell you what, though, the way to in parallel, really, to hold whatever IQ points you've got, and indeed to increase your vernacular and your engagement with the process that Alex is going through, and to perhaps open yourself up to your own process and make yourself a bit more self-aware, perhaps. A great thing would be to go and sub to Alex's channel. The link is down there. So I would suggest go and get that done. Watch all the stuff, share it, link it out, talk about it. It's all about the discussion, really. Alex, thanks for your time dropping in today to tell us about it. Let's keep our powder dry. For the rest of it, you'll need to go across to Alex's channel and have a look at it. Full endorsement from me. Go over there, get it done, and we'll all move forward together. It's about magnifying our power together as a community, really. Because one person alone can do magnificent things. Absolutely. But two people working together is not twice as good. It's vastly more betterer. It's much more better. That's what it is. And four people, exponentially more powerful than that. And then when they tell people and it becomes 8 and 16 and 32, well, you do the math. That's how it works. And it starts with you guys. So get across there, get it started, get it happening, make it so. Right, that's all. Join us next time on the channel where someone will be wrong and it'll be Lame Norton again. Who, believe it or not, Alex, actually said, I kid you not, there's no possible way we could actually be obligate hypercarnivores, he said, that Lame Norton. And his reasoning was, we don't have sharp pointy teeth and claws. Fuck me, really?
Well,
okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, his hubris is born from the assumption that more muscles equals more smart equals better scientific understanding.
Me big biceps, me brain. Anyway, that's for another day. Anyway, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Catch you around.
Thank you, Professor.
Not at all. We'll see you over there at Come and Bring Yourself to Be Yourself.
Bring yourself to be yourself.
Bring yourself to be yourself. There it is. Cool. See you over there. Ciao for now.